Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to class, everybody. I am glad to have you guys here with me for the first time. Won't be the last time, hopefully. Hello, I am your sustainable professor, your sustainable instructor, advocate, designer. My name is Maggie D. Smith, and I will be taking you guys this semester through sustainable fashion and its many components. And so I hope, as I said before, that this is our first time, not the last time, and that while I'm here to, educate you guys, spread awareness, and share my knowledge, I am certainly all ears, eager, just as excited to learn from you guys as well. So again, welcome to the class. Come on in. I've got a few stragglers. It's okay. It's okay. My door is always open. Come on in. And I am loving the outfits. I am really loving the looks, ladies and gentlemen. I love to see it. Fashion has always been so exciting for me. Wearing, I don't know about nobody else, but being able, the excitement of, wearing a new outfit to school the next day or picture day or, just being able to express myself in that way. I've always loved that. And so that's what's led me here today to teach sustainable fashion. All right. So what our goal today, our objective is for me to educate you guys on the basics of sustainable fashion, what that is, what that means, and basically just introduce the idea of sustainable fashion to you and how you can implement that into your everyday life. All right. And so get things kind of going and kind of get better. You get to know me better. I want to us to start out and just stop and think about a favorite item that you have, a favorite piece of clothing. And when you're thinking about it, why it's your favorite? You know, why did you buy it? What drew you to it? Was it you saw it online first? You saw it on a celebrity, maybe a cousin had it. You've always wanted it. You saw it walking in the mall, through the food court. What caused you to stop and say, "Oh, I gotta have that. Take my money now." So that's kind of the basis of where I want us to start when it comes to sustainable fashion. I want us to start it right off the rip. Okay, before we even buy a thing, how do we approach buying in fashion? What do we think about? What motivates us to buy? What stops us from buying? So I believe, I know that when we start there, that can open the conversation to having a better understanding of sustainable fashion. And so let's go through a quick, um, professional definitions of sustainable fashion. So according to Wikipedia, sustainable fashion is a term describing efforts within the fashion industry to reduce its environmental impacts, protect workers producing garments, and uphold animal welfare. EarthDay.org defines sustainable fashion as a clothing supply chain that is ecologically and socially responsible. It aims to reorient the industry and consumers away from the fast fashion model and toward a sustainable fashion practice, in terms of sourcing, producing, consuming, distribution, and marketing. And so again, it's a mental approach, a consciousness that one has in terms of how you're involved, whether you're making it, whether you're buying it, whether you're, supplying it, whatever. It's a conscious awareness to say, okay, how am I impacting the earth? And how am I also impacting the people in the fashion industry, whether they're the workers or the consumers? All right. So before we go any further, let's get some quick little facts. The fashion industry produces 100 billion garments a year. 100 billion garments. 87%, 40 billion tons of the clothing that's produced, 87% ends up in a landfill. So 87%, 100 billion garments are produced. 87% of those are produced just to end back up, or just to end up in the trash. no longer being used in the landfill, able to be seen from space. Think I'm lying? Check it out. Google clothing pile seen from space. It's a real thing. All right. The average person today buys 60% more items of clothes than they did before. And I can definitely see how that is. We certainly have a lot more visible marketing, advertising in our face from social media, phones, TV, you name it, it's everywhere. So, the advertising and marketing is definitely in our face. And another, unfortunately, it's not a good one, another big or, a major factor about the fashion industry is the fashion industry is the second most biggest polluter of the planet. The second most biggest polluter of our planet is our fashion industry, which goes back to being able to see a pile of clothing from space. All right, so now that we have the facts on, some heavy hitting facts when it comes to the fashion industry, it gives you a better idea of, what the problem is and what's the need for sustainable fashion. I want to talk about the process of creating fashion in general. So, to start out, you have the materials that you're going to use. So, when the designer comes up with the concept, with the brand, the silhouettes, the different details, the next thing you have to look at are the materials that the designer or the brand or company wants to use. Because the material is what it's going to be made out of. Synthetic materials, plastic materials that end up in our oceans, that end up in our water, that end up in our body. Synthetic materials that our body, absorbs, the toxins from them. Materials that the earth doesn't break down easily. Some materials, which we'll learn about in, the coming lectures, take hundreds of years to break down. And so, again, right out the gate, we have to think about even while the designer, myself, is coming up with the shape, the idea, the outfit, what is this going to be made out of? How durable is this material? How long does this material last? So, materials are a main factor, one of the main factors when it comes to thinking about sustainability. So, right from the beginning, right from the start, right from the creation, what am I made? What is this going to be made out of? And is that harmful not only to the person that's wearing it, but is it harmful to the planet? What types of materials are they going to use? Is that harmful as well? So all of these are great questions that one has to evaluate and look at when they want to be more sustainable. So after you think about the materials, you want to also think about how is it being made. Again, it goes back to the materials being used. Are we using synthetic materials that, again, go back into the earth and pollute the earth? Are we using synthetic materials that are toxic to, the human body? Are they toxic to the people that are using, working with them to create it? Where is the excess waste from making these synthetic clothes? Where is it being dumped? Where is it being taken? That type of thing matters. So ethical production. And then again, going back to the people involved that are producing these clothes, how are they being treated? Are they making a livable wage? Are they, and I know, some people may be like, okay, well, why is it my business? Well, it's their business because, again, you're supporting, you're using your hard-earned money that, you may or may not be getting paid what you deserve. And it's the same way you feel that you feel that you have a right to a livable wage. People everywhere else feel the same way. They just don't have the voice that you have to express that. They don't have the support. And so that's where you have to stand in the gap to say, hold on, just for this one little t-shirt, I don't want y'all to treat people crazy or pay them pennies on the dollar or not, provide them with the safe working environment. It's just a t-shirt. So you have to think about it like that, and you have to advocate for others where they can't advocate for themselves. Ethical production. And then minimizing waste. And then that goes back to, again, when you're using certain materials, when you're creating the product, when you're getting ready to dispose of the scraps or the waste, or when the item that you created is being ready to get disposed of, how is it getting disposed of? Where is it ending up? All of those things play a big factor in what people will do when they think no one cares. All right. And then lastly, educating others. And these are some of the core principles of sustainability. Again, materials, ethical production, minimizing waste, and educating other people, whether they're organizations, brands, consumers, or whatever, on the best practices and what they can do to start now, today. Now, to help you understand better what sustainable fashion is, let's talk about what sustainable fashion isn't. So, sustainable fashion is basically where brands and consumers, they stop, think, and they act. And so they stop, think, and act to come up with strategies and policies that'll help to eliminate and reduce waste and pollution that's destroying our planet. So it involves taking action against brands in a way that, I'm not saying that, protesting doesn't work. I'm not saying those random pop outs at fashion shows where, people pop out the crowd and they may have some written on their clothing. I'm not saying that all of those ways aren't effective, but I'm speaking to a larger or broader audience now. And so I'm speaking to the consumer, to speak to you guys in a way to say that even myself, we're all consumers of something, but I'm saying this to say that we'll have to flex our spending power before anyone listens to anything that we verbally believe or that we're championing for. So that's just something to keep in mind. So what sustainable fashion is it? Well, sustainable fashion is not fast fashion. And it's not fast fashion in the sense that we know that sustainable fashion is, sorry about that, got the mic all down there. Sustainable fashion is about taking it slow. It's about thinking about what you're going to purchase or thinking about what you're going to do when it comes to fashion. And so I want to throw this disclaimer out here right now. Sustainable fashion does not mean that you're not going to shop anymore. You're not going to be able to go buy a new outfit here or there. Or you're not going to be able to, get that glamorous dress that you've been eyeballing for a while. It doesn't mean that. What it does mean, though, that is that you're not constantly chasing a feeling or a moment or whatever it is through clothing in a way that makes you dispose of it so fast that you don't enjoy it, you don't wear it, you don't utilize it, you're not mindful of how you plan on discarding it. So just know that when you become sustainable, that doesn't mean that you're saying you're never going to shop again, you're never going to buy anything online, you're never going to be able to put anything in your cart. It does not mean that. It just means that you're going to take the time to stop and think about what you're doing and how it not only impacts you, but how it impacts others around you and the planet as well. All right, so we know what we've talked about. We've introduced the principles or ideal concepts um, of sustainable fashion, which is a consciousness and an awareness of the design process when creating fashion from the start to the finish. All right, so now that we know that, let's talk about what sustainable fashion isn't. Its antonym or exact opposite, which is fast fashion, and it's exactly what it implies. It's fashion fast, or it's fashion being consumed in such a fast way that we're not giving the clothes the full life that they can do or deserve. We're disposing of the clothes faster than the earth can, break them down, or that, companies can efficiently find a way to discard of them. So it's a continuous negative cycle of consuming fashion in a way with no consciousness or awareness of the consequences or sacrifices that we're making on behalf of the planet, but also on behalf of other people's labor and unfair treatment in some cases. So we start with overproduction, and overproduction is basically where companies are producing large amounts of clothing in hopes that they'll be able to make a return out their profit and make more than what they anticipated. Is where companies are overproducing clothing because, for one, they're able to produce it with cheap materials. So if you're able to create something using cheap synthetic or toxic materials, and you're able to have someone, you're able to employ someone that works for you to work with these cheap materials. So you're using cheap materials, you're paying people cheap labor, and then you're selling it to the consumer, which is us, for a jacked up higher price amount. So it's a win-win for them. And so again, if no one is, blowing the whistle and saying, hold on, do I really need 100 t-shirts? Do I really need 200 pairs of shoes? Do I really need another dress? As opposed to saying, you know what, I don't need that. I wear what I have, or I don't want to buy from that brand because I heard they don't pay their workers. And so I don't want to pay you when you ain't paying the people that's making what, I'm wearing. It's an awareness, it's a stop and think moment. And that's really at the heart of what sustainable fashion is. It's constantly having those stopping and thinking moments, like hold up. And what you'll learn to realize is that the more you're stopping and thinking, the more conscious and aware you're becoming. You're saving money too. You're not buying, making those impulse buying decisions. You're not buying things that you later take home and regret, or you're not buying things that you absolutely love but you don't have anywhere to wear it to because you don't go anywhere. So it's stopping that whole process with the companies to where they think that we can produce as much as we can and they're going to buy it all, because what we found is that it does leave them with a lot of product that they don't sell, which is, creates an influx, which creates a problem for them trying to get rid of it or discount it or whatever, and you have product that's just there. All right, and then you have overconsumption. So in some instances they do make a lot, and we as consumers consume a lot. And so when we're consuming a lot, you still have to think about in the end, where is this all going? How is this going to be discarded? Where is this going to end up? I mean, I know for the longest I would throw things away, shoes, clothes, bills, whatever, and wouldn't have a second thought about where it's going in the trash, it's going in the garbage. Not thinking, how's it going to break down, or if I'm throwing my stuff away like this, is everybody doing the same? Yes, everybody's doing the same thing. The same thing. We're all throwing it away with not a care in mind about where it's ending up. But it's not disappearing. A little fairy, like I tell my nieces and nephews, a little fairy doesn't come and, get all of our clothing out of the trash and, distribute it to where people need it, or, has a magical recycling center. That's not what's going on here. Our clothes are sitting, festering in piles across the world, across the planet, deteriorating the planet. All because we have the luxury of just, I liked it for a minute, now I don't want it, or I don't, it got a little hole right here. Like, there's no seriousness to how people view our clothing decisions. There's not a lot of seriousness associated with most people's thoughts on that. And then, there's also, as we said, fast fashion, which is the overconsumption, overproduction. And then, the fast fashion model also, a lot of times involves unethical production methods. And it goes back to, not disposing of hazardous waste properly, not paying their employees and workers properly, not treating them or having the proper working environments. There have been instances where, which we'll discuss later, where people have lost their lives in these garment factories, all because people were treating them more so like, I don't want to say slaves, but I don't know, a very, very stern, authoritative power over people, knowing that they don't want to either starve or do what they say type of thing. And all of that for a dress or a shirt or a skirt or a piece of clothing, I just can't get behind anything like that. Okay, so we've discussed the principles of sustainable fashion. We've discussed what the premise or the basis of fast fashion is, opposite or opposing models. One is about slowing things down, being more mindful. One is about speeding it up, churning out as many collections and clothing items as you can with the goal of making as much money as you can. And that's another concept as well. I don't know sometimes, when I've gone to these, conferences and these panels, and we're doing all this talking and discussing, nobody's in business to not make money. So, as a sustainable fashion brand myself, LASHA, love and share humanity always. My goal is, most definitely to make money, but to make it in a conscious way to where I know for me that I'm not constantly having to provide, a product that people have momentary, value for. I want something that's more lasting for my customer. I want something more meaningful. I want something more purposeful. And so I know everyone doesn't share that concept, which brings me to my point that, it's important to remember that all sustainable fashion brands, have their own goals and mission. No one brand has it all figured out or has developed a magical formula for fixing one of the biggest problems facing the fashion industry and planet today. The fashion crisis isn't a them problem. Sadly, it's a all of our problem because we've all contributed to this fashion crisis, super fast fashion model that the world has adopted so quickly and blindly. And so, some of the ways that sustainable fashion seeks to counteract that it seeks to, provide a better example is to use eco-friendly materials. Again, going back to our initial conversation where we talked about, what sustainable fashion is in terms of beginning to end process. And you'll see a lot in sustainable fashion. You'll see circular, I can't even say circular. You'll see this circular model where it basically, elaborates from the beginning to the end where you're going to have, and I'm going to use this way. You're going to have, the sustainable, you're going to have the materials being used, how it's being produced, how, the consumer will use it and how it will be, disposed of, or the life form of that, and then how it will be disposed of. So creating it, with the customer in mind, with the certain type of materials, the ethical production of it, who's creating it, how they're being treated when they're making these clothes. And then, of course, the lifespan, the longevity of the clothes, the care of the clothes, the upcycle of the clothes, and then again, the disposal of it. So a continuous cycle. You'll see that circular model throughout, the whole, your whole exposure or gaining knowledge of sustainable fashion. And so using those eco-friendly materials help to break down better on the earth. We'll learn in the next couple of lectures on some fabrics take hundreds of years to break down. And so that means that the fact that your clothes, your polyester suit be here years and years after you're gone. And if that was your favorite suit, we don't want to see your favorite suit when you gone. We want things to break down in a proper time span. And so, a lot of sustainable brands and companies advocate for using those organic or those eco-friendly materials like organic cotton, soy silk, linen, recycled polyester, and bamboo. They break down on the planet better, they're less harmful, and some require less resources to produce, the fabric or the material that being used. And then ethical production, going back to again, how are you making these clothes? Are you following, guidelines? Are you breaking laws? Are you treating people badly? Again, that matters because you want to, these companies make hundreds, millions, billions of dollars. And so, some things aren't our business, but then some things are our business because if you don't say anything, people will continue to do it because nobody's holding them accountable. All right, and then reducing waste. And so reducing waste is the concept of, again, starting from the very beginning, thinking about the end goal in the beginning. So thinking about, okay, when it's all said and done, when this item, this jacket, this skirt, this dress it's had its run, it can't be worn anymore, it can't be repaired, it can't be any of that. How are we going to, dispose of it? How are we going to discard this item, this clothing in a way that is not just lingering around for years and years, and then it becomes a responsibility of someone else, another generation who is dealing and battling with, excess leftover from generations before them. And so those are, three ways that the sustainable fashion movement, the industry seeks to combat, those fast fashion practices. And again, that's using eco-friendly materials, advocating for ethical production processes and strategies, and then also reducing waste. And so again, those are three components that I believe are great starting points for being more sustainable in the fashion industry. Okay, so we discussed, some of the ways that companies and organizations, specifically fashion businesses and organizations, can practice or become more sustainable. And so now I wanted to just open the floor up and let's just have a discussion about, why is sustainable fashion important? I know one of, I guess, my pet peeves in the industry that I've noticed over the years is that, as I said before, um, to a lot of people, sustainable fashion can seem so complex and so, just mind boggling, and the problem can seem so much bigger than, what we're able to do. And at times, the challenges can be daunting, they can be overwhelming. However, um, everybody has to do something. Everybody can do something, and so you never can estimate. You don't estimate the power of small steps, small actions, because they do, build up, and over time, we've created some big changes, some big ripples, and so. The reason why I feel like sustainable fashion is important because it's something that everybody can do to help work towards solving a problem. Again, I don't know that we can undo the damages that we've done, when it comes to the environment and, depleting natural resources, but I do know that we can all stop where we are, think about the decisions that we want to make going forward to not to continue to be part of the problem. And so that's why I feel like it's important, because there's a lack of awareness surrounding such, a big issue, such an important issue. And, somebody, we all have to start sounding the alarm. Now, again, I'm not saying, get people face and demand them to change who they are, but, share some information, share some knowledge, and see where it goes from there. I feel like we need sustainable fashion because we need an answer to a crisis that's going on in the industry. We need an answer. We need like, there's always going to be a yin, a yang, a bad, and a good. And I'm not just saying that the fast fashion industry is bad, because don't get me wrong, like Shein, Zara, H&M, Fashion Nova, all those sites, they have some really cute clothing. I've literally had to unsubscribe to these companies because, like, if I go on the website, I'm gonna find something I want to get, and I'm gonna, rationalize in my mind, like, it's just $10, it's just this, or it's just that, and I'll wear it again. So it's like there has to be a consciousness and awareness of, the problem at hand, to see if people even care enough to do anything about it. Because the reality is that there'll be people that know the problem facing the industry. There are people that know they're a part of the problem, and they don't care. And that's not fine, but it is what it is. We have to accept that. And we have to move on and continue advocating and educating to those people that want to stop, and make a difference. And so I feel like, the problems facing the fashion industry as a whole are fast fashion, the environmental impacts it's having on our planet, on our ozone layer, and it's also, the natural resources we're depleting as well, and then also the social impacts. And so I feel like, the social impacts that go hand in hand with fashion, is that, a lot of times these fashion companies, these big brands, these major labels have the power to, use their platform, use their audience to bring awareness. Again, it's not, I don't know that most people understand, but you can't undo, corporations and organizations, infrastructure in a day, in a month, in a couple of years. But going back to what I said a moment ago, never underestimate the power of small steps. Never underestimate, the power that you have as an individual to make an impact. And so that's why I feel like sustainable fashion is important. And, the most I want to talk about sustainable fashion is here in class with you guys, as I'm sitting here and, we're learning together. That's the most talking I want to do. Other than that, I'm a doer. I want us to do stuff. Like that's why I don't like to attend a lot of conferences and a lot of webinars and things like that. Sometimes they're good for, being motivated and being inspired by others and getting ideas and collaborating. But I'm a doer. Like, you get me so fired up and worked up and excited and motivated. I want to go out and do. I want to go out and practice. I want to go out and put into play what I've learned. So certainly, that's what I'm about. Like, I want to talk here, come up with ideas, and then go out into the community and actually do, be a part of that change I want to see. Okay, so I want to do an activity. I was going to make it a group activity, but I'm like, okay, I don't know how y'all grouped up out there, so we're going to just keep it. We're going to do it. We're going to do everybody do work on their own, but I want us to think about 3 different common fashion scenarios. So I'm going to give y'all 3 fashion scenarios, and I want you guys to come up with at least one sustainable solution in each of these fashion scenarios, okay? And so we'll go around, we'll share some, we'll see, we'll get ideas. But again, much of what we're covering today is just simply about stopping where we are, getting an awareness, getting a better understanding, and then going from there. And so the first fashion scenario is going to be a special occasion outfit. So we got a birthday coming up, you're going to Aruba, or you got a wedding you're in, or not you're in because you probably got a bridesmaid, but you got a wedding you're going to. But put yourself in the mindset of graduation, a special occasion, and you want to look nice. You want to wear something, top notch. So thinking about that and thinking about what we discussed as far as people buying stuff they don't wear, over consuming too much, or buying stuff that don't last and it ripping or whatever, made out of poor materials, how would you approach getting ready or getting an outfit for a special occasion with a sustainable mindset, a sustainable fashion mindset? How would you approach that? Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am. How would you do it? Okay, somebody been doing their research. Okay. With that, the one of the ways or the responses could be for getting you ready for getting a special occasion outfit is shopping in your own closet. Right. Most definitely. Shopping in your own closet, wearing what you already have. And so wearing what you already have, that could mean just simply going through what you already have, trying it on, playing dress up with it, putting accessories with it, looking in the mirror, taking pictures, whatever. But look in your closet first. Let that be your first point, like, before you go anywhere else. Look in your closet. You may have a family member, go in their closet, a sister, a cousin, your mama, your brother, whoever. But look around for what you already have, because again, it's a special occasion. It's a one-time thing. You're not going to be, doing this every day. So look around for something that you already have in your own closet or somebody you may know. Now, you might also want to remix it. Upcycling is what they're calling it. So sustainable word for today, another sustainable word is going to be upcycling. Upcycling is when you take an existing garment or piece of clothes and you make something new out of it. So there are great videos on YouTube if you put in upcycling. There are great videos on TikTok for upcycling, even putting it in on TikTok and Instagram. You'll find great videos about upcycling and give you some ideas and inspiration. And then lastly, renting online. This one has been new for me. I've never rented clothing online, but I have seen several people online that have done it. They've loved it. It gives you options. It gives you a wide range of brands to, choose from. A lot of different, options as far as design. So renting may be an option when you want something new, but you know that you only need it for that one time. And you want to elevate your style or you want to do something different. So think about renting. All right. So the next fashion scenario is going to be cleaning out your closet. I know. Well, I personally don't like it. I for one, I never feel like I have enough space. And then I'm always trying to cramp stuff and, make it visible. But it got to be done. You got to clean out that closet at some point, because we don't want to keep holding on to stuff that doesn't fit. Even though I know we're going to lose some weight and fit back into it. You can have a few items like that, but your whole closet does not need to be stuff that you're going to lose weight for to fit back into. You got to be real with yourself. Now, we're going to hold everybody else accountable. We got to hold yourself accountable, okay? All right. So, with you cleaning out your closet, a sustainable approach for that could simply be making a plan for it. Figuring it out, okay, I want to get rid of I want to clean out all my summer clothes because winter is coming in. I want to get rid of all my too little clothes. Or I want to get rid of the clothes that I haven't worn in 2 or 3 years because that's not my style anymore. So go into cleaning out your closet. Go into that with a plan. That way, again, as you're stopping and thinking about what you want to do going forward, how you want to make some changes, you can start with what you already have. All right. And then also, as you're cleaning out your closet, you want to try on clothes, as we said a minute ago. Try on those clothes. Try on those clothes because that'll give you a fresh inventory of what you have. So as you are out shopping sometimes, or you out at the mall, or you're wherever, you're not constantly being excited, or you're not making these impulsive purchases because you think you need a white shirt, but you can't quite remember where. If you try your clothes on, you will know what you got, and so you won't get in the habit of buying things that you don't need, or things that you think that are really cute but you're not going to wear them. All right. And then lastly, when it comes to cleaning out your closet, you may want to hire a closet organizer or a stylist. This is becoming a lot more common, especially online and social media, where stylists and other fashion professionals are turning to private services for their clients with, organizing their closet, matching up their outfits for the week, helping them to kind of get a hold on that space in their home. So that's definitely a good investment, especially if you can keep up the work that they put in. All right. So last scenario, you got a hole in your favorite shirt. So you got a hole in your shirt. You don't want to go buy another one. You really want to keep this one. What can you do to be more sustainable? Okay, I'm hearing a few things. Okay. And again, when you're one of the things I love about being sustainable is that you have plenty of options. A lot of times it's not just one way you have to be sustainable. You can find many ways of being that. And so this instance and this scenario is a great one again, because with repairing your clothing or fixing a hole, you first want to see, can I do it myself? Am I capable of fixing this? Can I go on YouTube? Can I go on TikTok, watch a tutorial, and figure out how to make this repair myself? Because once you learn how to do it, that'll give you motivation to do bigger and bigger projects, which may end up, you may even start sewing your own clothes. So first determine when you have an item that needs to be repaired or amended or altered, see if you can do it yourself. All right. Anybody got any other ways? Any other ideas or ways that you could, save yourself some money possibly, and save yourself from buying something that you're not going to wear when you have something that's ripped or torn? All right. And so we've already mentioned about watching videos and tutorials and things like that. You could also hire a seamstress or a designer. And I myself, as a designer, my fashion brand, LASHA, Love and Share Humanity Always, we have recently launched a alteration and repair service. So I do that as a service to the public. Now, I am local, so I'm only providing that service locally now, but I do plan to expand over time. And so that's something that you may want to reach out to a local designer that you may know, or, someone that may sew. Now, be mindful, a lot of designers, that's not their thing, because I was definitely there at one point where I was like, I didn't go to school to get a degree to hem nobody pants or to fix that hole in your jacket. Get somebody else to do it. But I'm spinning the block. Things have changed, and I see things from a different perspective now, where that's not trivial to me. It's actually a lot more meaningful when I'm, championing and on this mission to do my part in the fashion industry. And as I said before, to show my love for the industry in a way that's active and that's intentional. And so when you have, these clothing that you need to have repaired and you can't do it yourself, look into hiring someone. If you don't know a designer or a seamstress, reach out to your local cleaners. They may have someone that does sewing or alterations. And then you may even look into, shipping it out to having someone do it. Of course, you'll have to incur the shipping charges, but if it's an item worth saving and repairing, it'll be worth, paying those shipping costs or whatever that may be to have someone to repair that for you. So, yeah. Okay. I love, exploring real life scenarios, and those three fashion scenarios are ones that I think, were pretty common in our day-to-day lives. And so again, we're all about just stopping where we're at, thinking about it, and then acting in a way that's more conscious and more intentional about our fashion decisions and choices. Okay. So we're getting towards the end of the class today, and so I just want to recap to kind of bring everything back around full circle to, close us out. And so sustainable fashion involves taking action in the fashion industry. I know I just said a moment ago that a lot of times I feel like in this industry, well, in this movement or this sector area of fashion, so sustainable fashion can be a lot of talk. It can be a lot of ideas floating around, a lot of, things, strategies on paper, but another big challenge within it is getting things off of paper and out of conversations into action, into people actually doing. And so sustainable fashion is very much about taking action in the fashion industry to reduce environmental impacts and to advocate for workers making the garments. It's for, like I said, being the voice for the voiceless. And it's also about educating one another on the movement. And so it's a movement. It's a forward movement because, again, you're not going to just decide one time that you're not going to buy something, or that when you do buy, you're going to buy something of a higher quality. You're going to be doing that constantly. You're going to constantly be moving towards making better decisions. So that's why a lot of times the sustainable fashion that this sector is considered a movement, because it's a forward progression of actions and beliefs, when it comes to fashion. All right, and so again, sustainable fashion is very much about a circular approach, about thinking about the beginning and the end. Sustainable fashion in the circular approach, that entails, basically, like I said, from when you created, when you create it, what materials are you going to use, and then who's going to be making it, how are they being treated, and then again, the life of the garment, can it be recycled, can it be upcycled, and if it can't, then how is it being disposed of, and how are you going to reduce that waste of disposing of your product or your garment. All right, and so simple steps like mending, repairing, and renting clothes can save you money, and it can also save the earth of valuable resources. So again, sustainable fashion not only seeks to save you money, but it also, the fundamental principles of it are to teach you how to enjoy your clothes longer, teach you how to give them new life. Like clothing is much, I look at it like the skins today in Roblox and Fortnite and Call of Duty and everything else. You know how fast they can change something, and it's a different feeling, it's a different mood, and they put something on the skin, it's a different. Our everyday clothes are very much still like that. Like, there is so much life to them, so much options and combinations and way to style them and way to upcycle them that they don't need to be discarded so fast that we're not really enjoying them, and we're not, giving them the life that they have for it. All right. And so before we go, got some homework for you guys. Yep, got homework. I want you guys to share this. We meet again next Tuesday, because we'll be meeting every Tuesday to have a sustainable fashion class. And you can catch me on YouTube. I'll be posting full videos there. I'll be posting clips on YouTube Shorts. I'll also be posting to my TikTok and also to Instagram. So follow us there, LASHA or LASHA_901. All right, so your homework is that I challenge you this week to see if you can stop, think, and act when it comes to at least one fashion decision in your life this month. Just at least one, and not this month, this week. when you encounter a fashion scenario, a decision, or something of that fashion related, how can you, or not how, apply a sustainable fashion solution or method to that fashion scenario? And I want to hear about it. I want to hear about it when we come back next Tuesday. I want you guys to drop it in the comments so that we can all see what we were out and about doing for the past week. But I definitely want to see how you guys were able to incorporate a sustainable solution into at least one of your fashion experiences or scenarios for the upcoming week. All right, so I'm gonna leave you guys with this. With sustainability, it's not about talking; it's about doing. Gabriella Hurst couldn't have said it any better. Remember, guys, love and share humanity always. Bye bye.